You are now listening to a 302 Birds podcast experience, proudly powered by Tick Pick, Cutbet, El Diablo Burritos, Nick's Pizza, and Klondike Kates on the heart of Main Street.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 302 Birds. Today, we got the pregame edition for you guys. We are proud and happy to be down here on the heart of Main Street at Klondike Kates, bringing you guys this live edition, Eagles versus Rams today. First, want to start out by saying, if you're watching the show from Delaware, if you don't know where you're at, if you're at home watching, come join us right now on Main Street. We are giving away a free Devontae Smith Kelly Green jersey. We're raffling it off. These guys over here, they went out to go try to talk to some people on Main Street and got a bunch of no's. So what I'm trying to say is, long story short, your odds are pretty good right now. So you might as well come down here, drink with us, get some delicious food at Klondike Kates. But hey, before we get into that, for a couple quick seconds, I do want to take a second to talk about that Phillies game last night. To my two Phillies guys over here. Boy, oh boy, how about those Phillies ballpark?
That game was over the top. It was, I still don't really understand in the full reasoning. He kind of was like, it seemed like after the game, like Topper kind of went into like, okay, we kind of had this game plan. We didn't want to tell him before the game. That's why he was upset. But
Douchebag alert.
Let
it go.
Douchebag alert. Douchebag alert. That they didn't like really want to tell him before the game, like that they're going to take him out early, but it seemed like it was all part of a plan. It's a very risky plan because one of those 7 guys has an off night, and the Braves have a very potent offense. Even though they got shut out last night, it was the first time they got shut out since August of 2021. Like, this isn't any run of the mill offense that we were talking about last night. Hey, so that they got shut out was astonishing. I'm glad it worked out the way it did. It shows that Topper might be more of a genius than the rest of us. That's why he's managing and I'm sitting in the bleachers. But I couldn't believe it. Trey, we saw why he's a $300 million player here at shortstop. And then Harper had the hardest hit ball ever against Spencer Strider last night. It was 115. Yeah, 100. Yeah. That's the hardest ball ever hit off of Spencer Strider, regular season, postseason. So only positives. They weren't supposed to win last night. They've done their job down in Atlanta. And if they steal another game, they've done well above and beyond what our expectations were by stealing 2 games in Atlanta. And then they come home to the greatest home field advantage in all of sports right now.
Yeah, man, that was just an exciting game, man. From start to finish, they just looked amazing. Pitching, I mean, tops off to the bullpen, because all regular season we were not feeling good about our bullpen, and they came out and they showed us why they're one of the best bullpens in the MLB. Unfortunate for Suarez, but Topper had a plan and he stuck to it, and he had confidence in his bullpen, and that's just name of the game. So Trey Turner had one of the best defensive plays I think I've seen in a very long time. So he's well worth the $300 million that we paid him. He's coming through. He's batting well. The entire lineup is just they're playing with a different energy this season. They're playing with like, we're gonna fucking win this game, rather than, oh shit, we're in the postseason. This is pretty cool. Like they're one of the best. They're easily one of the best lineups in the MLB right now. And I think taking a game down in Atlanta, definitely. Atlanta's not feeling good about this series right now. I can tell you that. And let me just say, and then we can move on to our beautiful Eagles game this afternoon. But the Atlanta fan base is a disgrace. I mean, seriously, they show up to a postseason game and so it's terrible. But let's dive into the Eagles, guys. How are you feeling about this game, Dolp?
I'm hyped for this game, to be honest. Sorry, guys, we're having a couple technical issues. That's why I'm calling in from Ballpark Tommy's iPhone 3 over here. I don't need the microphone. It's not on, unless you guys believe it's on. No, in all seriousness, I'm excited for this game because the Rams have been a team that have sort of had our number for a while. I love playing at this stadium because every time that the Eagles go here, there's always more Eagles fans than Rams fans. Rams fans, you should be ashamed of yourself for that. What I will say, I'm a little bit scared of these wide receivers for the Rams. Fantasy beasts, I think Cooper Kupp's coming back today, so we'll see how that plays out. But Tommy, how are you feeling about all of it?
I honestly agree with you very much on all your points. Our secondary is a little banged up. They have 3 guys that can potentially be slot receivers, essentially, with the rookie from BYU. I'm not even going to attempt to say his name.
Puka.
Yeah,
That's all you
Puka.
gotta say.
And Cooper Kupp. Like, both of those guys could be slot guys with their physicality and with their speed. And they don't really have even one, like, nickel corner right now. Like, it's been a weak spot ever since Avonte Maddox went down, and you don't really know who's going to take over at this point in time. So that scares me. Their offensive line, though, is banged up. They need to get to the quarterback this week. Last week, they did a very poor job at getting to the quarterback with Sam Howell. Especially with what's his face, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, they both would constantly get shoved to the outside. This week they need to stay better at staying up the middle so they don't allow those gaps for the quarterback to sneak away and convert on 3rd and long often. And that's what they really need to do in order to have success. Need Nicholas Moreau, wherever the hell he came out of.
Was he a Raider before?
Chicago.
Okay.
But he had a phenomenal game. Need him to keep stepping up. So I don't think Jacoby Dean's back yet this week, right? He's still not back.
Against the Jets.
The Jets, that's right. Okay. So they're just going to need him to step up again because the slot, the nickel corner position is going to be their weak spot. The offense, I think, has figured it out with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and now you have DeAndre Swift, too, who's been hot since the beginning. So, I don't see any problems with the offense. It's the defense that worries me.
Yeah, so my thoughts about this game. I mean, yeah, they obviously have Cooper Kupp coming back off the IR, and Puka Nuwakwe or whatever his name is. He's a really good receiver. He's underrated. I mean, you didn't think about him this season at all. He was probably like a 5-string wide receiver coming into the season, and now he's shown what his worth is as a receiver. But it's the defense that really worries me this game. But I mean, you got Fletcher Cox out, you got Sidney Brown out, you got a couple guys out, but as long as the slot could play pretty well, and I don't know if the new guy is going to play, the Roby dude, out of the Saints. So, I mean, he might play, but I don't know if he knows the playbook yet. But, I think that the offense is going to just play really well, and the defense is we're just going to have to see what they could do. I want them to get a lot of pressure on Matt Stafford. That's another thing. And, like he was saying, Nicholas Morrow, he had a career game, a legacy game. He had 3 sacks last season, and then he had 3 sacks in one game. So, it's pretty self-explanatory. Hopefully he can keep on stepping up. Matt, what do you got to say?
I think my key to this game is you have to pressure Matt Stafford. That is like, if you don't pressure Matt Stafford,
pressure.
Huh?
The Matt on Matt.
Yeah, it's awful, man. Like if we got to get home. Fletcher Cox isn't playing this game, so that means Jalen Carter, baby. We're gonna see him play the most snaps of his career, and I think he's gonna get home. There's so many times this season that he gets so close. Great QB pressure. Hitting the QB after the ball's out. But I think this game he's gonna have, a staple game where it's like that's Jalen Carter. That's what we drafted. And that's going to be huge for us because, like every one of you guys said, we don't have a slot corner right now. And we need one. And without one, we got to get to Matt Stafford.
Actually a perfect transition into our next topic, which is actually going to be players to watch for the Eagles. And Matt brings up a really great point that for the Eagles this year, one thing that we've struggled with is who is going to be our slot cornerback now that Avonte Maddox goes out. And Howie does what I think was a actually brilliant decision and goes out, brings in Bradley Roby, a former Pro Bowler, Denver Bronco, I believe a Super Bowl champ. Did they win that? Yeah, the year that they beat the Panthers. They got their ass handed to them by the Seahawks. That's what we all remember. But in all seriousness, I really like Bradley Roby. Sorry, the lighting's just a little bit bad. You're all good. I really am excited to see what Bradley Roby does today. That's my main player to watch if I'm the Eagles. Some secondary players. I mean, how can DeAndre Swift not be on that list every week with the way that he's been playing? I mean, dude's been a stud. He's been absolutely fun to watch. And I think another player for me to watch, believe it or not, Rams don't have the offensive line that they used to, especially the year that they won the Super Bowl. That was a little bit aged of an offensive line. So I would say a big player for me to watch today is also Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat, quieter this year, and understandably so. I mean, it's the Philadelphia Bulldogs, but keep an eye on Josh Sweat. I think he's going to have a pretty decent game for the Birds today. Who you got, Tommy?
So this week I think Jalen Carter's going to need to step up, especially with the injury to Fletcher Cox. You got to have somebody who's going to step up and up the middle. Plus, there are starting guards out this week with an injury. So with him being out and Jalen Carter being on the interior, I think you have to have him be your big guy to blow it up the middle and just make a statement. Then on the offensive side, I think it's going to be just Jalen Hurts being Jalen Hurts. Like, he's got to find a way to meld everything together. Like, it seems like you have to pick one or the other with the pass and run. And I think with Jalen, he's got to find a way to blend the two together to make the perfect harmony. Like, I think he gets a little too much scrutiny over the last, put up 38 points they put up, or no, 34 points last week. And he's still getting scrutiny. Like, that's a great offensive outing. So I think it's just we're so used to seeing perfection that we're almost getting spoiled over these last 2 years. So I think just as long as he finds a way to keep blending together the pass and run game, and he'll be a player to watch. And same with Jalen Carter being a big part of getting him real fast, especially with a team that's going to be throwing a lot of slant passes this week and trying to get that ball out quick. Like BG on the Players Lounge this week was talking about that, how the defenses to counteract their rush are going to throw a lot of slants. And with a team that has essentially 3 slot receivers, they're going to throw a lot of slant passes this week, especially, and Matt Stafford being a gunslinger like he is.
Yeah, my player of the game, I got Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert finally steps up, and he's just a dog. I mean, when you have him in your offense, you got to incorporate him more. And I don't know how the Rams defense is this year. I don't think it's very good, and they're just going to be keying on Devonta Smith and AJ Brown the whole game. More of AJ Brown, just knowing that he had 2 touchdowns last week. So I think Dallas Goedert is going to be more incorporated, and I think he's going to get 5 receptions for, I'll say, 96 yards and a TD.
Those are some big numbers there, Hoss. No, but I think that's a great pick is Dallas Goedert, because like you said, we haven't really seen the Dallas Goedert that we're used to seeing, and I don't know if that's play calling. I don't know if he's just kind of, slow getting out of his plays, but I really haven't seen anything drawn up to get him the ball. And I think that's going to change today. But back on the defense, I've already said Jalen Carter, but Hassan Reddick, guys. Hassan Reddick has been unusually quiet, and he recorded his first sack of the season last game. And I think he's going to feast today. I mean, I think, he's going to get more and more comfortable with that cast off his hand. And we're going to start seeing the Hassan Reddick that we saw last year. So, but I guess on the offensive side of the ball, I would go with Dallas Goedert as well. I definitely think so.
I'm so glad you brought Dallas Goedert up here. I'm going to move the camera over here just because we're getting some interesting lighting. So basically, I got to point it this way is what I've learned. Cool. Thank you. I like the Goddard take. Goddard take is great. I mean, definitely has gotten a touchdown this year, right? Has he even exceeded maybe 150 yards? I don't think he has, which is not very good for him. And it's not his fault. I mean, if you look at the monster game that AJ Brown had last week, that's understandably so. Dean Landowski in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see that man here. Sorry, got a little bit excited for this guy. He's got on his drip out, what I call the Philly uniform. He should have had on the Phillies jersey over the Hurts jersey, though. That's like the Philly uniform, the Sunday uniform for October, when you wear like your Phillies jersey over the jersey. But
We'll forgive him. The Phillies aren't playing today. We'll forgive him. The Phillies aren't playing today.
but Phillies are hot too. But
Instead of a Canadian tuxedo, we call that the Philadelphia tuxedo. Yeah.
that's pretty good. I like that. But yeah, moving on to our next topic now. I mean, there's a lot of players to watch, a lot to see. Sorry, guys. I'm literally running this outside, so like, bear with me.
And he's blind.
Yeah, I'm as blind as a bat because I don't have all my eyeglasses. But besides players to watch, who are your fantasy players to watch? I mean, there's a lot of implications. I'm telling you this. If I have A.J. Brown or DeAndre Swift on my fantasy team this week, I am starting both of those guys. I mean, after the season that they've had, A.J. Brown has a huge week last week. We had my cousin Whit, shout out to Whit, on the show this week. Go Birds! Anyway, the point is, give me DeAndre Swift for my fantasy starter this week. I think he's going to probably have not 100 yards, but he's going to probably have like, it could be like a 60-yard and then 2 touchdowns, but he gets easily 10 takes. So if you got him in PPR, start him. And A.J. Brown's a big player to watch. Unfortunately, I want to see Dallas Goedert ball out. I just think that the Eagles are going to do the old, if it ain't broke, don't fix it until they lose. And I don't think that they're going to lose this game. So, go Birds! E-A-G-L-E-S! Eagles! Got some hype fans over there. Tommy, who are your fantasy implications?
Are we talking just in the NFL in general, or are we talking just the Birds
just
game?
in this game,
Just in this
specifically
game?
some Eagles for you.
Specifically, some Eagles. If the D line can hold up, I like the Birds D. You normally don't anticipate a defensive line getting you some points, but you know what? The way they've been coming in, and with it being that the quarterback is like winding up as they're getting there could be a lot of fumbles in this game, and all of a sudden you're seeing a defense get you easily more than 10 points in a game. I think that's where I start there. I don't think there's going to be a lot of field goals, so definitely not Jake Elliott. And I think Hurts finally puts it like all together with the symmetry. He seemed like he was last week. So I'm going to get my player with the same player to watch, same fantasy player to watch. I think Jalen finally has a stereotypical Jalen fantasy game where he has well over 30 points.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. My pick of the week for fantasy is Jalen Hurts himself. I've been starting him in fantasy on my team, and he's gotten 20 points or more. And I think that, you're not going to get underneath it, underneath that 20 points. But theoretically speaking, what Tommy Salucci said, I think he's gonna have a good game. He's guaranteed a touchdown when they're on the goal line and they can't get anywhere with a receiver or running back. They go to the old reliable, the tush push, brotherly shove, and it's gonna just happen. They're just gonna run. He squats 600 pounds. Buddy is a dog, and just like the rest of the team, they're Philly dogs.
Mine's kind of going to be a hot take, but I'm saying the Philly defense. We're thinking that it's going to be, a pretty high scoring game. This is the first time this season that we're really going to be facing a pass heavy offense, and which is going to allow our defensive line to feast and hopefully cause some turnovers. If you look at us, we already have 5 fumble takeaways this year. Most of them coming against the Vikings, but it's still a stat that should be watched, and I think we could have a high-scoring game with our defense here. So that's who I'm taking.
Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg, my guy, permanently banning me. Not permanently, but banning me for a week from Facebook groups for sharing 3 times. Appreciate you, Mark. Really helping our podcast grow. So if you can, and you're watching this on Facebook, share it in some groups for me. Ha, Mark, see that? I'm going against you. There's a lot of fantasy players to watch for sure. And then last but not least, we got some pregame predictions for you guys. I'm actually really excited for this game. Like I said, the Eagles and the Rams have a pretty good rivalry. I remember that game a couple years back when Nick Foles went ahead and took them down. But what are some of your guys' pregame predictions? We'll go ahead and hit this one in reverse. I'll give it to Matt first.
Maddie.
Hey yo, it's your boy. So I guess my pregame prediction is I think Jalen Hurts is going to throw for over 330 yards with 3 touchdowns. No turnovers, and we're not going to see a tush push to get a touchdown.
Challenge accepted.
See, I think you incorporate the tush push a bunch of times this game. I mean, they're obviously maybe gonna get it on some third and 1, 3rd and 2, yeah, someone like that. But I don't know about the 300 passing yards, but that would be great because I have him in fantasy, like I said. But yeah, my overall prediction of the game is I got Eagles 37, Rams 27. So they beat them by 10 points.
I think this is a game. I've said it now like 8 times, but I'm gonna reiterate it. Jalen's gonna blend the offense for once. We're gonna see a nice, healthy I feel as if this is the game where we finally have a balance of run and pass. So we have that nice symbiotic relationship, kumbaya, if I dare say. So I think you're gonna see a good blend of that. I do see a good high scoring game out of Jalen. Like the only real threat on defense they still have is Aaron Donald, which he's always going to blow up stuff. So if anything, they're going to lean more on the pass game than anything, because Aaron Donald will blow anything up the middle, and that's just where DeAndre Swift runs, is really up the middle. So you're going to have that. So long story short, we'll have probably. I'm going to go 35, and then we'll probably have some late scores 21. And with the defense starting to do the bend, don't break mentality in the second half, garbage time type scores. And to go off of your little rivalry thing, we had the best of both worlds with, where did Jaws start? Jaws started as a LA Ram. And then he went to the Eagles. And they were ready to give up on him because they thought he was a bust of a draft pick. Ron Jaworski.
Oh, Ron Jaworski.
Yeah, and then he went to the Eagles and had himself a career. So, there you go, Dutchie.
I never knew that about y'all. So shout out to Ballpark Tommy, a.k.a. Grandpa Tommy, for bringing us some knowledge today. David, what's going on, man? Welcome. But I'm excited for this game ultimately. There's a rivalry, whether you want to admit it or not. Shout out to West Coast and Birds. They are out there right now holding it down, flooding SoFi Stadium, more like Lo-Fi Stadium for their fans today with a sea green. I'm so excited to see it. My pregame predictions, I do agree with Tom. I could see some garbage time tutties. Tom's got on the Eagles Yeezys, though, today. So every time Tom wears the Eagles Yeezys, usually good shit happens. So I got a good feeling for us today. With that being said, my score prediction, I don't think the Eagles are going to put up a 40-burger, but I do think they'll put up like 38 points. I mean, in their last, like, however many games, they've put up 35-plus touchdowns each time. So I really think that they'll put up like 38 points. And I do see the Rams offense scoring a little bit, so I get 38-21 Eagles over the Rams. But a lot to see and a lot to watch today. I think Matt Stafford, for the Eagles, the main key to their success is going to be putting him in the dirt, making sure that they sack him, I would say, at least 5 to 6 times. If they can do that, they'll be in a really, really good spot in this game, because where the Rams succeed is when they get time and when they give Matt Stafford time to hang out in that pocket, make a decision, and give it to 2 of those either great receivers. But that's pretty much all we got for you guys for our pregame show today. A little quick pregame. I don't really have anything else. I don't know if anyone else has any final remarks or anything. Anyone? Go Birds. Yeah, so, I mean, we're out here at Klondike Kates. So I'm going to show you guys in 1 second once our motocross team, University of Delaware Motocross Club, goes by. Cool, they're done. Anyway, like I said, we're out here at Klondike Kates, so come hang out with us if you're not doing anything today. A chilly fall day, a great place to hang out, watch the birds, get a drink. They got ciders. They got what I like, my lemon spring water. If you like Sprite, they got beers. The guys down here are slamming some beers. And I'm going to say on 3, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds! Like I said, guys, come hang out with us down at Klondike Kates. But other than that, hope everybody enjoys their game day. Have a good one. And as always, God bless. Go Birds. Caw-caw!